Triple H just broke his silence about Roman Reigns' critical condition after Clash in Paris, and what he said will make you absolutely furious about how WWE's chief creative officer is throwing everyone under the bus to save his own career while Roman fights for his life in a hospital bed. The exclusive footage I obtained shows Triple H's first public statement since Roman was left in critical condition, and instead of taking responsibility for the attack he personally authorized, he's lying through his teeth and blaming everyone except the executive who greenlit the violence that nearly killed WWE's biggest star. Right now, Roman Reigns is on life support in a Paris medical facility while Triple H sits in corporate boardrooms spinning a web of lies designed to protect his executive position by sacrificing the wrestlers who followed his explicit instructions to make it look real and don't hold back. The leaked audio of Triple H's emergency press conference shows him claiming he had no knowledge of the planned violence level when documented evidence proves he personally approved every aspect of the attack that left Roman unconscious and bleeding internally. But here's what makes Triple H's statement absolutely sickening: he's not just denying responsibility for Roman's critical condition. The leaked footage shows him actively blaming the wrestlers who carried out his orders, throwing Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker under the bus to protect his own corporate position. The performers involved exceeded their instructions and went beyond what was approved by WWE management, Triple H states in his leaked press conference. "We are investigating the serious breach of safety protocols by talent who ignored established guidelines." Breach of safety protocols. Triple H is claiming that Reed and Breakker went rogue when the leaked production documents prove he told them to take it to the next level and make sure it's memorable. His attempt to scapegoat the wrestlers who trusted his leadership shows the moral cowardice of an executive who would rather destroy other people's careers than admit his role in nearly killing Roman Reigns. The backstage footage that WWE tried to suppress shows Triple H giving explicit instructions to escalate the violence beyond normal parameters. "I want this to be the most talked about segment of the year," he tells Reed and Breakker. "Don't worry about going too far, we need maximum impact." Maximum impact. Triple H personally authorized the level of violence that put Roman in critical condition, but now he's pretending he never gave those instructions. The documented evidence proves that every aspect of Roman's near-fatal attack was approved and encouraged by the executive who's now denying responsibility to save his own career. But the most disgusting part of Triple H's statement is how he's using Roman's critical condition as a public relations opportunity rather than showing genuine concern for his injured talent. The leaked PR strategy documents show Triple H's team calculating how to use Roman's medical crisis for sympathy marketing and audience engagement rather than focusing on getting him proper medical care. "The Roman situation generates significant emotional investment from our audience," one leaked memo states. "We should leverage this concern for promotional purposes while maintaining plausible deniability about management responsibility." Leverage concern for promotional purposes. Triple H's team is treating Roman's fight for life as a marketing opportunity rather than a medical emergency requiring executive accountability. They're literally planning to profit from fan worry about Roman's survival while denying the corporate negligence that caused his critical condition. The leaked conversation between Triple H and WWE's legal team shows his primary concern is avoiding personal liability rather than ensuring Roman receives proper medical treatment. "What's my exposure if this gets worse?" he asks lawyers. "Can they trace the authorization back to me personally?" Personal exposure. While Roman lies unconscious in intensive care, Triple H's main worry is protecting himself from legal consequences rather than protecting his injured employee. The corporate sociopathy of prioritizing legal protection over human welfare while Roman fights for survival shows the complete moral bankruptcy of WWE's executive leadership. But the leaked email chains prove that Triple H's fingerprints are all over the planning that led to Roman's critical condition. Multiple messages show him personally approving violence escalation and safety protocol violations. "Greenlight the enhanced intensity level for the Roman segment," one email from Triple H states. "Legal says we can handle any fallout as long as we get compelling television. Make it count." Legal says we can handle fallout. Triple H pre-approved legal strategies for dealing with the consequences of violence he knew could seriously injure Roman Reigns. The premeditation evident in his emails proves this wasn't an accident or unauthorized escalation, it was calculated endangerment approved at the highest executive levels. Meanwhile, the leaked footage shows Triple H's body language during his statement revealing obvious deception and discomfort with his lies. Body language experts who analyzed the video described classic signs of deceptive testimony and guilt. His inability to maintain eye contact while denying responsibility, his defensive posturing, and his nervous gestures all indicate someone who knows he's lying about his role in Roman's critical condition. The professional analysis confirms what the documentary evidence already proves: Triple H is deliberately deceiving the public about his responsibility for nearly killing Roman Reigns. But perhaps the most infuriating aspect of Triple H's statement is his fake expression of concern for Roman's welfare while simultaneously working to avoid paying for his medical treatment. The leaked insurance discussions show Triple H arguing that Roman's injuries resulted from performer negligence rather than corporate authorization, potentially voiding WWE's coverage of his medical expenses. If we can establish that the talent exceeded their instructions, we may be able to shift liability away from the company, Triple H apparently told insurance representatives. The performers should bear financial responsibility for their own reckless actions. Shift liability to the performers. Triple H is trying to make Roman financially responsible for medical expenses caused by following Triple H's own instructions. The attempt to bankrupt an injured employee to protect corporate finances shows depths of moral depravity that are shocking even by WWE standards. Roman could face financial ruin from medical bills while the executive who caused his injuries works to avoid paying for the consequences of his own negligent decisions. The leaked conversation between Triple H and his crisis management team reveals his strategy for manipulating public opinion while Roman remains in critical condition. "We need to control the narrative before the medical situation gets worse," he tells his advisors. Before the medical situation gets worse. Triple H is openly discussing the possibility that Roman's condition could deteriorate further while planning public relations damage control rather than focusing on medical support. His casual discussion of Roman potentially dying while calculating corporate image management shows complete indifference to human life in favor of business protection. But the leaked audio from the hospital shows Roman's family furious with Triple H's statement and his attempts to shift blame away from WWE management. He's lying about everything, Roman's wife apparently told other family members. Hunter authorized that attack and now he's trying to destroy the wrestlers who trusted him. Roman's own family recognizes Triple H's statement as a pack of lies designed to protect his career while their loved one fights for survival. The people closest to Roman see through Triple H's deception because they know the truth about who authorized the violence that put him in critical condition. Meanwhile, Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker have reportedly obtained legal counsel to fight Triple H's attempts to scapegoat them for following his explicit instructions. The leaked legal consultation shows both wrestlers have documentary evidence proving they followed Triple H's orders exactly and never exceeded their authorized parameters. "We have recordings of Mr. Helmsley specifically instructing our clients to escalate the violence and disregard normal safety protocols," their attorney apparently stated. His current claims of unauthorized action are demonstrably false. Recordings of Triple H's instructions. The wrestlers he's trying to sacrifice have actual audio evidence proving he personally authorized every aspect of the attack that left Roman in critical condition. The documentary proof that Reed and Breakker possess could completely destroy Triple H's attempts to avoid responsibility by exposing his lies to criminal and civil courts. But the leaked strategy session shows Triple H planning to use his corporate position to silence the wrestlers before they can present their evidence. "We need to find leverage to keep them quiet," he tells his legal team. "Contract violations, future employment, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes." Triple H is prepared to use corporate retaliation and intimidation to prevent the wrestlers from exposing his lies about Roman's critical condition. The systematic campaign to silence witnesses shows consciousness of guilt and premeditation in covering up his role in nearly killing Roman Reigns. Corporate abuse of power to obstruct justice while Roman fights for life represents a new level of executive criminality that should result in criminal prosecution. The leaked medical consultation shows that Roman's condition has actually worsened since Triple H's statement, with doctors now discussing the possibility of permanent brain damage from oxygen deprivation during the attack. Permanent brain damage. While Triple H focuses on protecting his reputation, Roman's medical team is dealing with complications that could leave him permanently disabled even if he survives. The deterioration of Roman's condition makes Triple H's public relations campaign even more disgusting because he's lying to protect himself while Roman's brain function hangs in the balance. But Triple H's statement made no mention of the worsening medical situation because acknowledging it would interfere with his damage control strategy. The leaked conversation between medical personnel treating Roman reveals their shock at Triple H's public lies about the attack being unauthorized. The level of violence we're treating is consistent with systematic assault, not spontaneous escalation, one doctor states. Systematic assault. Medical professionals treating Roman's injuries confirm that the attack shows evidence of planning and authorization rather than spontaneous violence. The medical assessment directly contradicts Triple H's claims about unauthorized performer actions and supports the evidence that he personally approved the violence. But Triple H continues lying despite medical evidence that exposes his deception because protecting his career matters more than honoring the medical professionals trying to save Roman's life. Meanwhile, the leaked audio from WWE's board of directors meeting shows them discussing Triple H's potential termination over his handling of the Roman Reigns situation. "This level of negligence and dishonesty is unacceptable," one board member apparently stated. Potential termination. Even WWE's board recognizes that Triple H's lies and negligence regarding Roman's critical condition warrant removal from his executive position. The corporate governance review of his conduct could result in Triple H losing everything he's trying to protect through his systematic deception campaign. But he continues lying and scapegoating rather than accepting responsibility that might save his relationship with the board and the wrestling community. The leaked conversation between Triple H and his wife reveals his panic about facing consequences for his role in Roman's critical condition. "What if Roman doesn't wake up?" he asks her. How do I explain that I authorized the attack that killed him? What if Roman doesn't wake up? Triple H privately acknowledges that his authorized violence could result in Roman's death while publicly denying any responsibility. His private admission of guilt to family members proves he knows exactly what role he played in creating Roman's life-threatening medical emergency. The contrast between his private acknowledgement and public denial shows the calculated nature of his deception campaign. But perhaps the most shocking revelation is the leaked audio of Triple H discussing contingency plans if Roman dies from his injuries. "We need to be prepared for the worst-case scenario," he tells his crisis team. "How do we handle the PR if he doesn't make it?" PR planning for Roman's death. Triple H is calculating public relations strategies for Roman's potential death rather than focusing on preventing that outcome through proper medical support. The callous discussion of using Roman's potential death for damage control shows depths of moral bankruptcy that are incomprehensible in civilized society. Roman's life is being treated as a public relations problem rather than a human tragedy that Triple H has direct responsibility for causing. The leaked medical update shows Roman's family making end-of-life decisions because doctors have warned them that his brain injuries may be incompatible with meaningful recovery. End-of-life decisions. Roman's family is facing the possibility of removing life support while Triple H focuses on protecting his corporate position through systematic lying. The ultimate consequence of Triple H's authorized violence may be Roman's death, but he continues prioritizing his career over the life he endangered. Meanwhile, the international media coverage of Triple H's statement has been overwhelmingly negative, with journalists worldwide calling his claims implausible and obviously deceptive. The global wrestling media recognizes Triple H's statement as damage control rather than honest accountability for his role in Roman's critical condition. But domestic WWE coverage continues repeating his lies because corporate influence controls the narrative in wrestling media that depends on WWE access for content. The leaked correspondence between Triple H and wrestling journalists shows him explicitly requesting favorable coverage in exchange for future access and interviews. "I need you to frame this as a performer safety issue rather than a management failure," he apparently told friendly media contacts. "Your continued access depends on supporting the company line. Continued access depends on supporting lies." Triple H is using media access as leverage to control coverage of his role in Roman's critical condition. The corruption of wrestling journalism through access threats shows how systematically Triple H is working to avoid accountability for nearly killing Roman Reigns. But independent journalists without WWE relationships are exposing his lies because they don't depend on corporate access for their coverage. The leaked investigation by French authorities shows they're treating Roman's injuries as evidence of criminal assault because the medical evidence contradicts Triple H's claims about unauthorized violence. Criminal assault investigation. Foreign law enforcement recognizes that Roman's injuries suggest systematic violence that exceeds sports entertainment parameters. The international criminal investigation could result in Triple H facing prosecution for authorizing violence that resulted in life-threatening injuries. But his statement made no mention of the criminal exposure because acknowledging legal jeopardy would undermine his damage control strategy. The leaked conversation between Roman's medical team and legal authorities shows them providing evidence that contradicts Triple H's public claims about the attack being unauthorized. The injury patterns are consistent with systematic assault using specific techniques and force levels, medical personnel apparently told investigators. This level of precision suggests planning and authorization rather than spontaneous violence. Systematic assault with planning. Medical evidence provided to criminal investigators directly contradicts every claim in Triple H's public statement. The professional medical assessment exposes Triple H's lies while providing evidence for potential criminal prosecution of his authorization of violence. But he continues deceiving the public despite knowing that medical evidence could result in his criminal prosecution. The most devastating aspect of Triple H's statement is how it reveals his willingness to sacrifice everyone around him, wrestlers, medical staff, production personnel, rather than accept responsibility for his role in Roman's critical condition. His systematic campaign to shift blame while Roman fights for life shows that no relationship or professional obligation matters when his personal interests are threatened. The wrestlers who trusted his leadership, the family suffering through Roman's medical crisis, and the fans who deserve honest information are all being sacrificed to protect Triple H's corporate position. But the evidence is overwhelming and the lies are transparent. Triple H's statement exposes him as a coward and liar who would rather destroy other people's lives than admit his role in nearly killing Roman Reigns. The leaked recordings, email chains, and medical evidence prove that Triple H personally authorized every aspect of the violence that put Roman in critical condition. His statement is a desperate attempt to avoid accountability that insults the intelligence of everyone who cares about Roman's welfare and wrestling integrity. Triple H's statement is a pack of lies. He authorized the attack that left Roman in critical condition and now he's sacrificing everyone else to save his own career. The evidence proves his guilt and the wrestling community demands justice.